physically here or not, but there are, I've got like 40 students throughout the day who are remote for one reason or another. So, and it's been tough for me to provide remote instruction well. So what I'm going to try to do is use like the thing I've been writing on is like this thing. It's pretty hot. It's a monitor, but you write right on it. So it's like an interactive tablet. That's the thing I've been referencing. So whenever I write on this thing, shows up on that board and shows up on this board at the same time, you know, and it's also on Zoom. And then I can watch to see who comes in and out, and I can allow participants in, and also chat. Like there are like questions that come up on the bottom of the screen there too. So if you see something come up, be like, "Yo, Mr. Flint, you missed. You just asked a question or something." So my goal, and we were encouraged to do this if we can, to try to provide the same kind of experience for remote students as students who are in class. So it's also true that if you're out for any reason, like if you are sick, or if you're in quarantine, or if you're just not going to come to school anymore, you switch to remote instruction or something, that your experience should be pretty close to the same as if you're here. Does that make sense? That's what we're going to try to do. I don't know how well it's going to go, but I'm going to like try my best. And here's Porter. All right, so now there's like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so now we're up to 9. So like, I guess all the 9 empty seats here are people who are actually coming to class. Okay, so that's the plan. Let me switch to a different thing. New share. And I had the room all set up completely differently whenever we were like remote, because I actually had a table up here and had all kinds of screens and stuff. And it worked out pretty well. I don't know how your experience was with other classes. I don't know. I just don't know, because we didn't get to interact with other teachers either. We just come in. I just come in, do my thing, go home. We don't see each other. We don't really know what's happening. But, okay, so the thing you just picked up says hydrocarbon and acid review. And I know that this screen's a little bit wrinkly. That one there's flat. The color looks better here. So like you guys over here can see this one well. That one is kind of weird. The thing I just gave you is like a review of naming for hydrocarbons and acids. And then there's a quiz tomorrow, quiz or test, whatever, on naming hydrocarbons and acids. And you're going to do it during class, and you can use your notes. And the green paper that you picked up has the polyatomic ion chart, and there's a periodic table on the back. But what you can't use on the quiz is like going to a website like Googling it or something like that. No cell phones, no going to other sites, because I can like see like and log what you do whenever you do the quiz. So the quiz will be turned on tomorrow right at the beginning of class. It'll be available at 8:30. And in fact, I think it shows up. I don't know if it shows up on the upcoming list for you. Like, did you look or see? But like on the right-hand side, I know that things look a little differently for me, but it says like honors chemistry, hydrocarbons, and acids test. Like but it's not turned on yet. So I don't know if it even shows up for you. If you try it, it's not even going to be there. All right, so in the folder for this week, in Unit 5, it says week of 111 to 115, formulas, names, and writing chemical equations. The plan is that today, like right now, you have time to work on those review problems. And then at the end of class, like the last 10 minutes or so, I'll give you some answers to it. The things that are most important are actually on the second and third page. So the beginning is kind of like a guided notes or whatever, but starting on the bottom of the second page, there are names and formulas for acids and hydrocarbons. And that's what you really want to focus on, is trying to bang some of those out. So from the bottom of page 2, all to page 3, and all page 4, you can like work on that based upon, that's like the naming acids and naming hydrocarbons, which was like last week and the week before. And then on Wednesday, we're going to start with writing chemical equations, writing the equations for chemical reactions. And there's different types of chemical reactions. So we'll talk about reaction types like combustion reactions, single replacement, double replacement, decomposition, synthesis reactions, stuff like that, the generic kinds of chemical reactions, where you take all the formulas that you've learned to write and then put them together to understand what reactants form which kinds of products, and we'll work on predicting the products of reactions. And we're now finally into the heart of what we call reaction chemistry, which is like the activeness of actually doing chemistry, taking chemicals, having them react to make new kinds of chemicals, because that's what chemistry is ultimately all about, not just like naming stuff and whatnot. All right, someone else just came in. All right, you good? What kind of questions do you have, or what kind of concerns? Like, where are you at? Where's everybody at with life? How's it going? Not going. It's going. This is tough, you know? We're trying to do our best. All right, so I don't know, take some time right now and starting about on page 2, especially, work on writing like formulas and names for those compounds. If you have, like, I'll answer questions and help you out with individual ones as we go through, like whatever questions you got. Let me copy that into this. We can, oh, is that different on this one? Oh, that's a bummer. Hmm. It even came out differently. Let's see. Print. Everyone. Okay, what do you need help with? What are you confused about? What's the hardest thing? What can I help you with? Yeah, like, let's see. Yeah, so like the first 2 pages, we can go over that real quick, I guess. And then let's see, let's switch to a different screen. This one. And then, I mean, there's different kinds of choices, but carbons want to form 4 different covalent bonds. Hydrogen only forms like 1 bond. You know, like the number of bonds that come off the thing. Uh, pattern exists in, oh, that got kind of messed up. Pattern exists in chemical formulas of hydrocarbons, knowing only the single bonds or double bonds or triple bonds. The general formula for alkanes is like CXH2X plus 2, where the number of hydrogens is double plus 2 the number of carbons. For alkenes, it's the number of hydrogens is double the number of carbons. For alkynes, it's 2x minus 2. So for instance, like if you had a 2-carbon, or let's do if you had like a 3-carbon alkane, 3-carbon alkane is C3H8, but then a 3-carbon alkene is C3H6, and a 3-carbon alkyne is C3H4. Like you take double and then add 2, you double this, that's all you do. You double 3, you get 6, you subtract 2, you get 4. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And then let's see. And then the prefixes, like you probably have that list, like mono, ditri, and stuff and whatnot. And the endings based upon bond types is for, well, you can write a bunch of different things, but like, you know, for alkanes, it ends with ane. For alkynes, it ends, or alkenes, it ends with ene. For alkynes, it ends with yne. And the prefix for ring structures is always cyclo. If you have acids, the name depends upon whether it's binary or if it's based upon a polyatomic ion. But binary acids have only 2 capital letters in their formula, like hydrogen and another non-metal. And naming binary acids, it's always the name of the cation, like element, and then you add to that, ooh, I don't mean to write that. Well, yeah, the name of the cation, but it ends with, well, it's hydro, the name of the cation, and ends with ic, and then it's acid. So for instance, like HCl, this is chlorine, but the ion Cl minus is chloride, but it's not, doesn't matter that it ends with ide, that it's HCl, it's hydrochloric acid. The chlor is in the chloride. You got to be careful with some of them because, like for sulfur and phosphorus, you got to include the whole sulf and phosphor. And oxoacids are formed when hydrogen bonds form with a polyatomic ion. Naming oxoacids, you got to use the name of the polyatomic ion. So for instance, well, the for instance part is like writing formulas for acids. hydrogen is always a positive ion. If the name starts with hydro, it's always a binary acid. And you look at the, well, you could say the root of the name of the acid to get the ion. So for instance, if it's, you know, H2SO4, that's sulfuric acid, and the sulfuric must have come from sulfate, because there's that naming scheme about like 8 changes to ic, and ite changes to us. So if the ion ends with 8, oops, I didn't want to write that, then, yep, the acid ends with ic. If the ion ends with ite, then the acid ends with us. But if the ion is, this is for if it's polyatomic. If it's just a binary acid, then the ion name usually ends with ide, but not always. But the acid's name is always like the hydro, the root, and then ic. So if it doesn't start with hydro, then you need some kind of polyatomic ion. So from either the name or the formula, you look to see, are there like 2 elements or more than 2 elements? And then from the name, does that tell you if it's binary or if it's polyatomic or something?
The only thing is like I can find a polyatomic ion fine. It's just like knowing how many hydrogens are in that acid.
Oh yeah. Well, all you got to do is look to see like what the charge for the ion is. So for instance, sulfuric acid, because it ends with ic, you look on the ion chart and you'll see that it's SO4 2 minus. So every compound has to be neutral. Yep. And the cation is always hydrogen, and hydrogen is always 1 plus. So really, like for acids, it's actually kind of easy. The number of hydrogens is simply whatever the charge for the anion is. That's 100% true. So if it's sulfuric, that came from, this is sulfate. And sulfate is SO4 2 minus, so you got to have 2 hydrogens. Yep. If instead it's something like, well, it doesn't really matter, but like, you know, maybe it's like bromic acid. So bromic, because it ends with ic, it came from 8. So you're looking for the brome8 anion, and that's Br03, just 1 minus. So the name of that acid is just, or the formula is just HBr03. There's only 1 hydrogen because the charge for bromate is only 1. That doesn't really look very red. See, like over here, it looks really red. That projector is really like, it's an old projector and the color is not that great. Maybe I'll push some buttons on the menu and try to get those colors bumped up. I don't know. It looks good on the zoom going out. And that looks good. That projector's like new, like 2019. That projector's from like 2002. That's old school. It's not quite as bright either, but the bulb's also old, so. Yeah, so like HI, you know that that's a, like you can just kind of classify it. It's a binary acid. And you know that it's a binary acid because there's only 2 elements, just hydrogen and then the iodine. So on the periodic table, you know, hydrogen, when it forms an ion, is H1 plus, and iodine is I1 minus. So it's just a compound that's formed from hydrogen and iodine. So the formula is just HI. That's it, like high. Hydrofluoric acid, because it starts with a hydro and ends with ic, it's also binary. Because all binaries, the name goes hydro something ic. So you're looking for a compound or an ion that has fluor in the middle. And that's the fluoride anion. So you've got hydrogen, and then the fluoride anion is also in group 17 of the periodic table. So it's just HF. And it's the same with hydrobromic acid. So it's got the hydro and the ic. So you look for brome, and that's like the bromide anion, so H plus, and then bromine. Like you'll see some people write the one, it's H plus is fine. If you write H1 plus, it means the same thing. It's kind of redundant. It sort of matters and it sort of doesn't matter. To be honest, like most of the time, kind of as a shorthand and I'm kind of lazy, I just write just a plus or a minus. But then when it's HNO2, like HNO2, that's not binary. That has 3 different elements. So you gotta look on the ion chart. When you look on the ion chart, you'll see that like the NO2 is the nitrite anion. So it's H plus, and then it was NO2 1 minus. The name of that anion is nitrite. So now when you name it, if the ion was named ite, the acid has to be named us. So that's nitrous acid. It can't be, it's not nitric acid, it's not hydronitric acid, it's got to be nitrous acid. Because if the name of the ion ends with ite, the name of the acid has to end with us. All of those anions all have a charge of 1. So there's only 1 hydrogen in each of those formulas. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're just trying to write the name H2SO4, we just did that one, SO4, 2 minus, that's sulfate. It doesn't matter when you write the names, it doesn't matter how many hydrogens there are. It's just going to end with the word acid. But sulfate, 8 changes to ic. But sulfur is a funny one because it's not sulfic acid, it's sulfuric acid. Both with sulfur and phosphorus, you got to have more of the root of the name because those are elements that end with 8 or they end with or us, which is kind of weird. But then CH4, this is a hydrocarbon. And because it's understood that there's only 1 carbon, but there's 4 hydrogens, that follows that naming scheme. C2, oops, I don't want to write 2, like CXH, 2x plus 2, where the number of carbons, if it's 1, 1 times 2 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4. So that follows the naming scheme for an alkane. And that a 1-member alkane has got to be meth, meaning 1, and it's an alkane, so it has to end with ane. So it's methane. In hydrocarbons, they start with carbon. This tells you how many carbons are in the group. Meth means 1, only 1 carbon. And ane is from because it's an alkane. Like methamphetamine is called that because there's a 1 carbon methyl group on an amphetamine. That's why it's called that. If it was a 2 carbon group, it'd be called ethamphetamine, which would be different. So then C2H4, that follows that naming scheme. C2H, oops, I don't mean to write 2, CXH2X. So in other words, there's twice as many hydrogens as carbons, and that makes it an alkene. So it has to end with ene, and it's a 2-carbon group. So that's F. F means 2, so the name goes ethene. And then like carbonic, ic came from 8. So an ion that ends with 8 changes to an acid that ends with ic. So if you look on the polyatomic ion chart, you're looking for something that looks like carbonic. So I don't mean carbonic, carbonate. It is carbonic acid. So the carbonate anion is what you're looking for. And that's CO3 2 minus. So you got to make a compound with H plus and CO3 2 minus. And because the carbonate has a charge of 2, then it's H2 CO3. That's actually, like, if you read, you can write it in 3 different ways. If you have a bottle of soda, the ingredients have to say either water and carbon dioxide, or it could say carbonic acid, or it could say hydrogen carbonate and water. No matter what, it's when you put carbon dioxide in water, it makes carbonic acid. And that's what makes soda taste the way it does. As the carbon dioxide comes out of solution and the soda goes flat, it becomes less acidic and it tastes like trash. So flat soda is just less acidic or more basic than like soda with lots of carbon dioxide in it, because that's what makes the carbonic acid is what makes soda have a flavor, partially what has a flavor it does. So phosphorus acid, like it's got to come from phosphite. So ite changes to us. So now that would look like it comes from phosphorite, except phosphorus is one of these that has the ore kind of like that shows up and disappears. So it's actually not phosphorite, it's phosphite. And anyway, when you look on the ion chart, you won't find a phosphorite, but you'll find a phosphite. That's PO3 3 minus. So you have a compound with H plus and PO3 3 minus. So that's like H3PO3. If it were phosphoric acid, that comes from the phosphate anion. And then the hydrosulfuric acid, so that's a binary acid, it's H plus, and then whatever the origin of the sulfuric is, which is actually just sulfur, and sulfur is S2 minus, so H2S is good. And then the C4H6, that has to follow that naming scheme CXH2X minus 2, because 6 is twice as many as carbons minus 2, and that's an alkane. And a 4 member is bute. So it's got to be butine. I don't know. Let's see. The C7H16, that follows the naming scheme CXH. So one way to figure this out is like, if you just double 7, you get 14. So 7 times 2 is 14. And then this number of hydrogens is either the same number as double, or it's twice, or it's 2 more than, or 2 less than. And 14 is 2 or 16 is 2 more than 14. It had to follow that naming formula, like 2x plus 2, and it's 7. So it's Oh, what a mess. Heptane, and that actually is number 13, so that's not even exciting. Propane, C3H8, is prop means 3. Octane, C8H18, but then octine, so if it ended with ane, it's alkane, which follows that naming scheme, CXH2X plus 2. But if it ends with ine, that follows the naming scheme where it's CXH2X minus 2. So it's C8H14. As it ends with ine, it's got twice as many as the number of carbons, which would be 16, but minus 2. Yep. Cyclo, so there's going to be 3 carbons going around. And it ends with ine, so there's got to be a triple bond somewhere. There's a triple bond between one of the 2 pairs of carbons, but every carbon needs 4 bonds coming off of it. So the 2 carbons here on the left are satisfied, but these are not. Yep, like that. And cyclohexane, hex is 6. So we got 6 carbons going around, and you got to put hydrogens on all those. Actually, I'll draw it up here. You got to get a bunch of hydrogens on there. You can also write it other ways. This is okay. You can also write like this, CH3, 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 CH3. Or you can just draw this. Yep, there's a carbon at each one of the corners, and then every carbon's got to have 4 bonds coming off of it. So this is not okay, but any of those 3 are good. Like this is okay, or this, or this. It's all gravy. And then 2 pentene. Pent tells you, for the 2 tells you where the bond is. So it's pentene, which means there's going to be a double bond somewhere. And I'll put solutions to all these online too, so you can like see it online. But all these carbons are satisfied over here. This carbon needs 1 more hydrogen, and this carbon needs 1 more hydrogen. Every carbon's got to have 4 bonds coming off of it. Ethene, we got to have a double bond between the carbons. Eth means 2, so a double bond between both carbons. It's alkene, and you got to have 2 hydrogens on each of the carbons. And this one, you can count the number of carbons: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's some kind of 8 carbon, but on the 1, 2, 3, if you number the carbons, 1, 2, 3, on the 4th carbon in, it doesn't matter which end you name it from, there's a double bond. So that's 4. Oh, my pen just stopped. Oh, there it goes. Octene. Because on the 4th carbon in, there's a double bond, so that has to end with ene. And then this one, it's 2, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. heptene. There's a couple more at the end. I'll put solutions to that online too. Let's do that real quick, I guess, though. Let's see. Next. This is propane. This is 2, 3, 4, 5. Pent. 9. And this one is actually 4 carbons. But it's 2 butene. I don't know, make sure you bring your Chromebooks to school. But the test will be, like, we'll do it in class, and remote students can do it during class too. You can use your notes, you can use the polyatomic ion chart, and just have you like write or figure out some things about names and formulas for acids and hydrocarbons. It's the tube you breathe through, you know. Oops, didn't do that. Let's see, stop share. What? What? Next time you don't do it, I'm just going to throw you out. That's it. I'm not going to play any games. I don't have time. You got to learn this. You got to have it over your nose. You understand what's going on? Yeah, we're trying not to die here. You know? Got to keep it real. All right. The hovercrafts and stuff, you know? I'm still working on it. I don't even know what we're doing. Grid? You got the grid? Oh, yeah. No. That's all we're talking about. You wear a mask, right? Yeah.
I'm a toddler. I can't.
We can't, yeah. I have 2 students in the hospital right now. You know? 2 of our students here are in the hospital right now. They're in my first period class. Yeah. You know, one's in intensive care. Like, it ain't funny.
I'm toddler.
You can end up with lifelong physiological effects.
Are we going back to where we're going?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You know, what's it good?
Yeah.
Yep. On the middle table.
Miss Winter said
right,
to me right now.
right your nose out.
Oh my God.
Okay. On the middle table are the materials for the break. keep the same drops. Like,
I mean, I was wondering, so what can, so I know can do the work, but I need to like know what I can do right now that's going to get my data so that I can have the second one.
Finish the roller coaster. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
you know where your roller coaster is?
Yeah, it's halfway out here.
Yep. Yeah. For the what? The bridge. Yeah. On the right-hand side of the middle table, there are the pieces are there.
All right. So. Okay.
Wait. Yeah. So there's these blank pages.
You want to do benzene? You want to do that?
Who is that? There's like a new. Who are these new students just showing up? There's like 4 new students. Cecilia Cease, Jasmine Sulfa. You know them?
We have a Jasmine.
Yeah, it's not her. It's not a name changer.
Well, I didn't receive any emails.
No, we never do. Okay.
You fixed it?
So Tyler, Umar, Chris, Charlie. Yeah, it's on the. Here,
Hey, bro, I don't know how to do that.
Yep.
I have a question. If you don't attend graduation, they send it to you?
Yeah. Yeah, we just mail it. Or they just have you come up and pick it up, whatever. I get it to you.
Two more parts now.
How? My daughter, she's only 2 years, but she's almost 2 years
Yeah, I
old,
know.
and she has like 13 COVID. My 1.5.
Bad shape. I don't even remember right now. And as long as he's email saying, don't mark a notice that he's in the hospital. I'm like, that isn't how this works. Like I sent it to control thing, like, listen, he's here.
That's all next time.
If he's here, if he's not, like, he can be excused.
Right,
Like, with an
yes.
excuse, I just, you know, they like him up the thing.
But
Like,
the
I don't,
doctor, yeah, the
know,
doctor
bring
will
it
give
up.
him an excuse, exactly. Oh my
this isn't
God.
the end of the world. Like,
Right.
I really feel bad for him. I feel bad for you and your family, but like, I'm doing my damn job.
And that's exactly why. Like, they don't want failures on their hands. They don't want people to complain about, oh, we can't do sports. Like, the reason why we're here is so bizarre. Is
sick, the whole get up.
And there he is. Oh my God.
Yeah. And she's like, I think it
Eat
was
her
Wednesday.
words.
It was Wednesday last week. He had in the hospital. He got moved to on Saturday. He's 17. He plays football. He's otherwise a healthy person.
Yeah.
But this kind of stuff is what causes a bad infection like that. Breaks your heart.
Yep.
Like it causes damage to the heart tissue.
Forever.
And forever.
That's right, forever.
You could end up with a substantially shortened lifespan, or they've done studies with these college athletes who played, who got sick, and they do heart studies, and they're not good.
Right.
Some of them drop dead. Otherwise, should not have dropped dead.
Oh my God.
Myocarditis, all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's like, I don't say like, you got what's coming to you, but denying that the disease exists, and
Right.
talking shit about it, and not wearing masks.
Right.
Like, I mean, yeah, you can roll the dice, and you could go about your life and never take any precautions and be fine.
Right.
But what are you going to do? You really going to do that?
No.
They did that. So,
Oh my God.
anyway,
Have a good day.
you too.
I'm not about it. Like, he doesn't.
I don't know, he doesn't have his shit together.
Oh my
He just doesn't have his shit together. It's
He
like,
is like, he is such a spoiled little brat. I just want to like be like, you know what? Either shit or get off the pot. Like, that is him. He like sits over there and complains, but did nothing.
he just doesn't want to like wear a damn mask and just come to school and do the work.
Right. Well, because he's another one that, you know, doesn't feel that this is a real disease. And, you know what I mean? Like, wears the mask like a shit show every day.
Yep.
Goodbye.
All right, see ya. wear masks in school. Keep it real, man.
Flint. Flint money. Looking for money. Flint money. Where Flint money at? Where money at Flint? I got it. Here, I got it. You tripping? I gotta get my brother. Damn, that's awesome. Why are you in here? No, get out. Hey, you're. So Reggie, you trying to help me on the Reggie?
You gotta put a mask on before we start talking.
Oh, it is on.
Like the end of the third month. Get a mask. Get a mask. Get put it over your nose. Good. Hey, what's up?
You missed it, Flint.
What did I miss?
Oh yeah, I was gonna put this on. Guess what? I got 2 stocks of crops. You know what that is?
You have socks and crops?
Yeah.
I wear socks and crops. Sometimes I got my socks on and I'm looking for my crops.
No, but they opened this morning, $66. I think they're at like 77, 78. No. Dang, I'm going back to that. I gotta get the road. I gotta get this roller coaster done.
Yeah, it's the middle of January. And you just get started.
Yeah, probably.
Crazy. Why are you still making this?
Because you want to read this.
I didn't even notice.
I wish
Everything
not
outdoors is
ski
like
control. I went up to the chairlift. I got the top 2 ski controls, a girl and a guy sitting there. I talked to you. I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" They're like, all this stuff. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. I'm like, "Man, what are you doing here?" That was alright. I only paid $34, Yo, where's Marius Felix at? Well, you don't. What about?
Oh, yeah.
Yo, somebody broke my drum at the first. No, start, don't even start on that fast. Someone broke my shit. I said that.
No, bro, my shit was connected.
My shit was connected and rolling too.
No, fuck all that, bro. How much like this, bro? My shit was connected.
Oh, sorry.
I ain't doing this shit. You need help, bro?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm about to just restart. This all down?
Oh, I ain't even, bro. You don't know.
I am. Bro, you went on like great things from the beginning out. Don't restart until I get this shit right.
Wait a minute. I'm not sure it's up. I just leave it in the mouth. Stuck in my mouth. Right away, they see stuff.
It's stronger for weight. So when the same piece of balsa wood,
I used to mind me to go play in a minute. That's my phone.
oh boy. Whole bunch of people not in the squad. How long do you think we're back for this time?
3 minutes.
Noah's not here. Allison's not here.
So how much do those cars even cost that day, the solar cars?
The ones that they make?
Yeah.
Well, it isn't like you buy them, right? You have to build them.
Yeah. Well,
One of those teams, I would guess on the order of over the 2-year period, maybe spend $5 million or so on development and building it. And all that.
and then having a go to have to load it fall off, crash basically.
Yeah, and then you gotta fly the whole team to Australia.
Yeah.
They send all those trucks and cars. So like if you were to have the team in the United States, you're gonna ship all your vehicles there.
So if
Not just like you see some of them shipped like semi trucks and shipped, vans and things.
so did Michigan, did they come in third or did they come with their hour penalty? How did that work? Was it just
They finished in 4th place, which is what they would have finished in without the hour penalty anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Due to the one team blowing up.
Maybe it was 3rd. Oh yeah, it was 3rd place. But they would, even if they didn't have the penalty, they wouldn't have. I don't know if you watched the whole series, but basically the Michigan team had a van.
Stopped them from the one team blowing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They screwed them. That was a jerk move. Team would try to pass and they zoom up ahead.
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah.
That was dirty. Like there's no reason to do it, and it's unsportsmanlike, and you're just gonna get caught anyway. They got cameras on everything. It isn't like you're not gonna see them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You okay?
Do you want me to heat up your lunch for you?
No,
Or
I just
That's fine. No, that's fine. You have your donuts. And
trying.
got
I
a
just
lot
ate
going
one
on.
donut.
Do you want a drink? Do you want a Kool-Aid?
I guess I haven't hardly even had any coffee yet. I had one donut.
Graham and Bill went out there at like 4 a.m., but he's still holding on. Like they thought it was time, but it wasn't.
All right. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You bought stocks and Crocs? 2 shares of Crocs. Like Croc shoes.
Yeah.
You have good faith in Crocs?
I mean, a little bit, not really, but I bought it when it was low, so I mean, bought low and sell high, so I mean, when I get home, it's above 70, 74, and sell it there. I don't think it's going to be good in the long term. You know, Dogecoin now? Cryptocurrency.
I know about it, yeah. I'm trying to figure out who I got wrong on this.
It's trading at like 1 cent or a little below 1 cent. And I'm thinking, man, if I invest $10, they're reaching dollars. It's worth a lot of money.
Yeah, right here. It's okay.
I have a Gatorade too if you end up feeling sick.
No, I don't feel sick.
Just making sure. I just want you to know that I have it.
I just don't know.
And we have Easy Mac if you want to snack later. But don't want
I'm trying to get something ready for the union meeting. I don't think I'm gonna be ready. So I don't think it matters. I told him to be ready to do this thing today, but I'm just not ready. And I told John. So, but then I was like, maybe I can get it done. I don't know. If I stay here, I can work on it. Whatever. I got stuff in the copier.
Can you go get it?
If you're going that way.
Oh, I can be. This is my lunch.
Energy.
I mean, just on this tile, right? It's all the same stuff.
That's one. This is one. I'm just giving them some of the stuff they already have, but didn't have it.
Yeah, visible.
Yeah.
Do you want me to make any extra periodic tables or polyatomic iron charts for you for tomorrow? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I got them.
All right.
I have like 10 students in that class who are on quarantine or remote or whatever.
I'm going to print a few paper copies of it too, just in case something goes wrong with people's laptops or the internet or anything tomorrow. School would be.
Those kids were not doing well in that class. Like they were stressed to be here, uncomfortable. They didn't have a good attitude about not about chemistry, about.
Mine was like the opposite. My kids were good with being here, I think, but they obviously didn't learn anything last week because they had no idea what was going on today. They're like, "Hey, the test? What?"
Yeah. Well, there's that too, but
yeah.
I don't know.
And my fifth year is super happy to be here.
If they didn't pay attention and do the stuff last week, then I'm not tall. But
right. So I'm like, it's open.
You're gonna have to pay the piper sometime. Can't just think you can.
But I am gonna print some paper copies, so should the Wi-Fi or anything, go down, it's not be working. I'm probably just printing up for one class because I prepped for mine, so I'll know by then that it doesn't work. But I'll print some just in case something would happen.
All right.
All right. Or let me know if you need anything.
All right.
I'm sorry to go, Mr. Gallagher.
How are you?
Good. I was gonna come to your class and ask you how you feel about that capital raise. That's a discussion for another time. Don't worry about it. So just get it done. I mean, if we need to file, you want me to ask for anything?
No, we don't need. We have till the 30th.
Oh, I thought 15.
Well, I thought so too, but it's the end of the month.
Well, good. Then get it done in enough time. Just listen to me. You got so much going on. Get it done in enough time as you can for Amy, Nate, and I to sign off on it. We'll do some type of report at the February board meeting. Okay?
Yeah. The thing, I'm just not as organized as I should be, and I know it's in that pile. What I want to do is make sure I've got all the supporting documents, bank statements, all the things. Part of the issue was, well, a big part of the issue of how it wasn't organized, is I was working from home and then brought things here. Yeah. Like usually I'm organized here for Union, but we were at home. Like once we went in March, and I didn't keep that stuff as organized as I should have been.
Okay.
So like from March to September, I gotta like find a few things.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Don't
and I'm off by like $7 still. So in those statements, there's $7. Like you stopped somewhere and bought something, and You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's going to be a credit card thing, or I bought some stamps, or it's something, and the $7 isn't there. That then I still gotta then I gotta go through and figure out where $7 is.
Okay.
Which is either a typo or it's probably a typo because the amount's so small that when sometimes if you're off by 20, it's because you screwed up by 10.
Yeah.
You put 10 in credit instead of a debit with $7 and does it mean I was off by $3.50?
Let me know if you need $7 to make like.
No, that isn't the issue.
I know.
Well, we're actually we're over $7.
Oh, we're over. Okay.
It's close enough. I mean, $7 on 350,000. It's like what else?
Yeah.
I gotta get it right.
Okay.
Don't
kill yourself over this.
Jim's grandfather, he's been in hospice now since Monday. It's been like a week. Like he's gonna pass soon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they call. They're like, okay, now it's time. And that's happened 3 times. And then,
Yeah. You need local here?
Yeah. It's divine.
Okay.
So Jen has been. They only allow 2 people. So a lot of the time it's been Jen and Jen's grand. And she's been running errands for them and taking her home when she needs to and stuff,
Yeah.
And then her family's been driving in and out, and that's been stressful because they're like it's time, come down. And when they come down, I gotta go back to work.
Yeah. Is there anything I can do to take some of this off of you?
No, that's not a big deal, but I don't know. Getting back to this was, reorganizing what we do and how we do it.
Yeah.
Cleaning up the room and getting back into this mode took time too this weekend. So I don't know. I took your and other people's advice and actually took Christmas break as a break for the first time in my life, which was good. But then I paid the price by not.
You and me both, but that's what I did too.
I could have done so much of this stuff. There's no reason I couldn't have done other stuff over break. And I had that union stuff that I could have easily just done.
Okay.
But I had since September to do it.
Okay. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. Just make sure that you're.
Yeah. I think the good part is we've grieved hard enough about it, right? When he goes past it.
It'll be yeah.
He's 92 and he's had 4 heart attacks over the last 25 years. And it was probably October. And his heart function has been 10%. He can't really get around. It's just everything bad.
Yeah.
And then hospitals the hospital threw him out right away because they're like, hey, patients in the hallway. He's in the hallway. They're like you can't be here anymore. He would normally be able to stay at the hospital. So they were unable to treat him at the hospital. So they're like, hey, so you're in bad shape, but you got to go home to your own space. Which wasn't good for him either.
No.
And then when he became non-mobile, they're like, no, now it's time. You're going to go to the gatehouse. And then they were like, yeah, you got a day or 2. And that's been like a week and a half. So,
yeah.
sorry about that.
No.
I don't mean to burden people.
You're not. It's not a bird. It's not a bird. All right.
I can still,
Don't worry about it.
I just got to find the stuff. So,
Right.
all right, I'll put it together. I just want it to be right.
I don't. We got to do enough. So I think and today we can get this.
That's one thing that I found. Because they mail it. They mail you stuff. I mean, they mail you stuff all the time. I know you get a lot of notices that I get. Everything that's real time stuff.
Yeah, I get that. And I stopped asking about it. You get. I got to. I just don't need that.
Well, there's really important stuff that the president has to be aware of, especially because I don't want to say all local presidents don't go, but to be honest, the only job that's a job has deadlines and timelines. There's nothing else. Everything else is just whatever happens locally. So when you go to those treasures, a lot of the treasures, what I have to do. It's also a good job to find something to do it for. I'm only the food treasure. The day shipping. John, what's that? Actually, they should pass away during school. Treasure for 1971 until like 1990. John actually placed Gary in the job, and they're like, hey, so that room is going to do all the meeting stuff. We're going to train you how to do this too. But you're a math teacher and all the stuff's in your room. So let's figure this out. So. Yeah. It's fine. I appreciate it. I think it's an okay position. A lot of people have. Yeah. It's no big deal. Oh, Chris, but that was August. Before that, it's been 5 months now. That one piece of paper. Yeah. For a year. After that Christmas too. Isn't that right, Chris? Yeah, I restarted like 6 times. Look at it, though. How's your golf? Over all the time now. You know golf cold like? Oh, it's cold. Because it gets windy over like anywhere you go. Yeah, it's always out. You do that now 7 Springs. You know, no golf. Yeah, I can't do it. They like have a big kind of like open field, and then they run through it back and forth, like pack it down, and drill holes for the flies. Yeah. And, but the hill's like all undulated, so it's all. I watched. You can see it. How they give us some balls. Yeah, they use like orange or yellow balls. Yeah, but it's packed hard. Like snow surface. Yeah. So even if you hit like big high lofted shot, it comes down to his hips. Yep. But it's funny because what they do is when they groom it, they leave the corduroy in it. So the ball hits sometimes, just roll down that groove, like it falls. So you have to look to see that's part of how that game goes. That the ball doesn't roll down. Okay. The ball doesn't roll down the hill the way the ball would roll down. The ball follows the corduroy groove. So you're kind of trying to set your shot up so that it goes up past the hole. I never played it, but you could watch it play it out the side of the lodge. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna head back upstairs. All right, thanks. Thank you. Go down to Holland. Just go down to Holland. You have Pacific? Yeah. Back in 9th grade? I don't know what grade it was. You know what grade? I don't even remember my teacher's story. Do you remember you had job? No, I had Miss Sipperane. I had Miss Sip. I had Miss Sip. English well. Projects of science. We had students from here doing hydrogen fuel cell car one time. I want to do something solar. Yeah. Those solar cells, so typically solar cells use silicon. But on this competition, now all the teams use these gallium arsenide solar cells. You see, they're not very big. They don't even cover the whole top of the car sometimes. And those cars will do, straight up do 80 miles an hour.
But they also use a lot of energy when it goes that fast too.
Yep. As the years go on, the rules change.
Is it every year they do it, or
I don't know. What did you put for your answer when I asked that question?
I don't know?
Oh, it's every 2 years. And I was reading they're expected to be 2021, but it may be pushed to 2022. But they're expecting that not this next time, but the time after that it'll have to be 2 seats. And you'll have to have a regular passenger requirement. 2 people.
That's gonna be a lot. That's a lot of need for 2 people.
Well, you saw the reality is those cars are going like, it's kind of sketchy how fast they go.
It goes sketchy on those little wheels.
Yeah. So the thing is it looks as if they want the cars to be more robust and closer to that of a regular passenger car, but they'll probably also allow much larger solar panel area. So if you were to have twice as much solar panel area, you'd have twice as much power. What's that?
Twice the battery life, farther distance with one charge.
Yep. And then you still have the same, if it weighs twice as much, it has twice as much drag, but you have twice as much power, you still go the same speed.
I was kind of scared at the end watching it. At the last strip, they only had there's so many cars and everything, and those little tiny vehicles, trying to go through all that traffic there.
Well, it turns out like Australia is a good country to hold it in. Yeah, and they drive through a lot of desert area where there's full sun, so they get good sunlight. But Australia also allows them to put those cars on the road. You would never be able to license and put those cars on the road in the United States. No state would be like, oh yeah, that's fine, we'll let those cars among other cars. People in Australia kind of have a different attitude. They don't care about stuff as much. It's kind of like,
because they're not fixing stuff like here.
Well, the thing is, like, in every country there are standards for building automobiles, like crush protection, safety restraints, weight, they're crash tested. You build them to some standards so that people could reasonably survive a crash. Those vehicles can absolutely not survive a crash. So you can't license a vehicle that can't pass those standards in this country. But for this race and this race only, they allow that in Australia.
Yeah, but someone always has to make money doing something. So, doing it in the United States, you wouldn't be able to register it too, because not having certain stuff like you said.
The point is to eventually get to the point where the car could be robust enough that it could be, used on regular roads like in the United States. But it's like that with anything else. Like the first airplanes were like barely held together. It's super dangerous.
They're just metal rod and stuff.
Like wood and fabric and just whatever, and
like nailed together and stuff.
They were inherently dangerous. They were unstable. They had, high crash rates. And now like planes are incredibly safe and it's a regular mode of transportation and everything's
still scared of planes.
Well, you can be. It's irrational because per vehicle mile and over time, it's by far safer than anything else. Safer than walking, safer than driving, safer than riding a bike. There's no other mode of transportation.
A boat.
Boats are more dangerous. By far. Boats go down. Boats catch on fire. Boats get lost. People go adrift.
So I got a flare gun, but no one sees that. So.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. What's up? I suppose.
Same thing. My man.
Let's see. Boat. So last year in the United States, there were 613 boating deaths. That was actually a 4-year low. Usually 600 to 700 boating deaths a year.
That's a lot.
Yeah, you know how many airline fatalities we have a year? Like,
well, one plane crash, well, like an average plane of like passengers of 100 plus, they usually crashes, but mostly everyone dies.
Yeah, but it's so rare that that happens. So let's see. 2020, there were 0 fatalities. So.
But why are all these airlines from like all these other places crashing and stuff?
So last year there were 0.
50.
Yeah, that's the Colgan air crash in, let's see. Yep, that looks good. Yep. So the soldering iron, you got to turn it on. Like there's a little switch on the left-hand side of the soldering iron. And you hold the iron onto the connection where the wire touches the piece of metal. So you like hold that iron on there for maybe like 5 seconds.
I put it on.
And then put the solder on.
Yeah, I did do that.
Okay, let me see. It doesn't look like you have that much solder. Well, that looks good. Oh yeah, they look good. I'm sorry. I was looking at the direction. I didn't look at the connections. I was looking at the direction the wires went. There's batteries on the end of the desk there. See them? They're standing up in the charger.
Right here?
Yep. Make sure it has a green light. Like.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Nice battery.
Yep. Yep. It's possible the switch is already on the on position. You'll find that out when you connect the battery. So like, yeah. So since 2010, there have only been 2 airline fatalities. But we have like 700 boating deaths a year.
How many?
700. So, you know, you look at it, which one's safer, right?
Yeah.
In fact,
but why is like all these other airlines from like other part of the world, like Indonesia and stuff, like aren't they using the same thing?
well, okay, there was a crash over the weekend, an airline out of Indonesia.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a few different issues. So that's a 737-500, and it was a 27-year-old aircraft. It doesn't necessarily, well, it doesn't necessarily mean that an old aircraft shouldn't be flying, but there tend to be more maintenance and mechanical issues.
Due to it being older and stuff.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, this sort of is. This battery is like no good though. Try a different battery. Like it barely made that one go. Some of the batteries are actually bad. Just leave that one out, sitting on the table. That way I'll remember. One of the issues deals with pilot training. Different countries have different standards. So that can be an issue. It looks like there was an important mitigating instance with this airline or this plane that it flew into a very severe thunderstorm. And
Now,
this,
why would you drive into a thunderstorm?
well, it's not clear. You know, the pilot is ultimately responsible for the safe operation of the aircraft, but they also get direction from air traffic control. So sometimes there are weather-related crashes that are unfortunate. Does it go forward? Does it go in a circle, or does it kind of, does it go nice and straight?
It's not so bad, but
It's going. Argo 2. Nice. Looks good.
We take these home.
Can if you want. Yeah, you just take the whole thing. If you have a 9 volt, that's all you need.
I'll just be like, see, I was scared to go to Mexico when I was scared.
Yeah.
Like it was like flying on a plane. When you first get on a plane and you see it take off, you feel that like, whoa, I'm up in the air for once. That's like, yeah, that's not. Then you get a little bit of that turbulence when you're up there too, and you're like, yeah, I don't know about this.
Okay, we're fine.
The bridge project. You see how that works or not? Yeah. Don't look at Chris because he doesn't have it started yet.
It's pretty simple. There's a piece that he has. You take wood pieces, you put them together. What's up, Sean? All right. What? Is it really white? Really? Yeah. Jaden. Yeah. Here, you dropped your cigarette. Charge that.
Calling it your shotties.
Stab.
You know,
No, that is good. I got a question. When you were younger, Mr. Blackjack,
I was never younger.
when you were a kid,
I was born in 45.
what would your parents done if you came out of the house acting like somebody?
Acting like what?
Huh?
Acting like what?
Like these kids,
Like telling people that they got big feet or like not doing
No,
their
like
roller
kids
coaster
with,
since
like,
August.
dyed hair. Never,
Dyed hair? What's wrong with that? I dye my hair. Used just for men.
no, I was gonna say something else.
You mean like wearing a hood?
But I wear a hood because I have a right.
You have a right. It's in the Constitution.
No, it's I have a right because I come to school during a pandemic, which I can get sick and possibly die.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wear my hood. And if they say I can't, then it looks like I'm still.
One of my students has been in the hospital since Wednesday with the Rona.
Well, they shouldn't have came to school.
Well, no, see, he did not contract the coronavirus here. It was Wednesday, you know?
He shouldn't have. No, he shouldn't have went traveling.
Well, I don't know what he did or how he got it, but he got it.
He had to get it somehow.
Well, coming to school definitely makes your odds again a whole lot higher than staying at home, right?
So what are the rates currently? Getting?
A gazillion.
No, I mean like the statistics now, like how got it.
Everybody's got it. It's bad. Well, let's see. There would be they do a new data dump at noon. You know what I'm saying? Like noon is when the numbers are released. Let's see. It's 18 after now. They usually do a press conference. Some days they just like throw it on the website.
What does this bridge project do?
Well, that depends.
It's due anytime.
I mean, I'm not pregnant. I'm on my last bridge. I'm talking about.
Shit, I'm showing my first.
Hey,
roller coaster.
Chris, how are you going to talk about coming to school in a pandemic and you take your mask off and yell?
I don't need a mask because if I get sick, I get sick. I don't care.
You still don't understand
How
how this
have
works.
their mask on, so how is that affecting me?
The whole point of wearing a mask is to protect others, not to protect yourself.
But you have a mask on. You're protecting me.
You still don't get it.
How would I?
You're not protecting the people in this class when you take your mask off and talk.
I am protecting myself.
You're not protecting us. Yeah. So like, well, the plan was that all three of those bridges would be done by the middle of this marking period, but that obviously didn't happen.
Oh, well.
You know what I'm saying?
For no one else,
You're the
Right.
furthest.
I'm on my last bridge personally.
Yeah. You're the furthest ahead out of everybody.
Do you have a box I can take home?
A box? And what kind of box?
A box that
And me and Reggie,
I can take these home. Because I want this done tomorrow. I'll fold it all.
You can take that box you got right there.
I'll take
You gonna do that? Is it gonna fit?
Yeah, it should. Because I just want to put the paper. I'm gonna fold all my stuff. everything.
Let's see, PA Department of Health.
Why is the government about more politics, like politicians and like politics and stuff, but it never is about
The government's always about politics and not about the people. Well, I guess sometimes it seems like that, right?
I mean, it does. Sometimes.
Some people don't think it'd be like that, but it do, right?
I feel like it does.
We got those numbers pumped back up again today. It's like, let's see, what day is today? Yeah, it looks like today's not out. I don't know, the dashboard's not loading, so it might be like actually refreshing right now or whatever. Oh, that thing's still on record. That's crazy. Has this Zoom actually been recording since like the second period? It's gonna be like the longest Zoom ever.